Welcome back to the epicenter of the awakening, where we dismantle the most sophisticated psychological traps ever devised to crush the human spirit. Today, we are opening the door to a room that society often whispers about but never fully exposes: the bedroom. Have you ever felt it? That sudden, bone-chilling transition from a screaming match to an intense, physical embrace? You were seeking an apology, seeking a change, but instead, you found yourself trapped in a trauma reset. We are asking the big haunting question that keeps you shackled to your abuser. Why does the narcissist use intimacy as a psychological eraser to make you forget the very monster you were just fighting? Imagine a cinematic thriller where the protagonist realizes their memories are being systematically deleted by a ghost. That is the reality of the narcissistic intimacy cycle. It is a sharp, jagged transition from absolute horror to a performative, terrifying warmth. You are left staring at the ceiling afterward, wondering how a person who just called you every vile name in the book could suddenly act like the love of your life. This isn't passion. This is a calculated psychological override. It is the signature of a soul that has learned how to use your own biology to silence the alarms screaming in your head, and tonight, we are exposing the blueprint. You've likely spent months gaslighting yourself, making excuses for this make-up sex cycle. You tell yourself it's a sign of their deep, hidden love or their way of apologizing without words. But your gut knows the truth. Your gut feels the predatory vacuum they've left behind. The narcissist's sudden affection isn't an olive branch, it's a neurochemical heist. They have hijacked your biology, spiked your dopamine, and triggered your oxytocin, only to leave you in a state of chemical amnesia. They have engineered your vulnerability only to use it as a weapon of total memory suppression, and we are here to break the spell. Most people don't want to discuss this because it feels too heavy, too personal. But the narcissist thrives in that silence. They want you to feel confused because confusion is the fertile ground where their control grows. By remaining silent about the trauma reset, we allow the predator to keep their most effective tool hidden. We are looking into the dead-eyed intensity that follows the abuse, the way they use physical closeness to reset the clock on their bad behavior. This is the moment the secret knowledge begins to emerge. You were never their partner, you were the subject of a biological experiment in compliance. Think about the contrast. Moments ago, there were accusations, tears, and a soul-crushing coldness that felt like the end of the world. Now, there is a wall of artificial heat. The narcissist has effectively unplugged your logic. They have achieved the reset of control, and the physical act was merely the delivery system for your own submission. To them, the intimacy was a transaction where they bought your silence with a hit of dopamine. The confusion you feel afterward is the narcissist's internal victory. They have satiated their need for power, and now they are waiting for you to behave as if the abuse never happened. The haunting question lingers because the disconnect is so brutal. How can someone who treats you like trash in the kitchen treat you like a god in the bed? This is the core of the addiction. The narcissist uses the trauma reset to bypass the difficult work of accountability. Right when you are ready to hold them responsible, right when you've finally seen the mask slip, they pull you back into the intimacy trap. They use your body to silence your brain. But the silence that follows is the most honest moment of the relationship. It is the moment the parasite is full, and the mask of the lover is put back in the drawer. You are here because you are tired of waking up with a hangover of regret. You are tired of the post-coital discard that follows the reset, leaving you feeling more alone than when you are actually by yourself. You are sensing that this is not just intimacy, it is a form of spiritual and emotional harvesting. The narcissist is a pharmacological predator, and they have turned your bedroom into a laboratory for your own erasure. They want you to stay in the fog, begging for a sliver of the warmth they just showed you, but I am here to tell you that the warmth was never real. It was a heat lamp designed to keep you still. The narcissist's sudden passion is a weaponized amnesia. By becoming the perfect lover in the aftermath of abuse, they force you into a psychological corner. If you bring up the abuse now, you are the mood killer. You are the one who can't let go. This is exactly where they want you. They have flipped the script so that you are now the villain for remembering the truth. It is a psychological masterstroke of gaslighting. They have turned your most vulnerable moment into a position of absolute weakness. They aren't passionate because they love you, they are passionate because they need to delete the evidence of their cruelty. Stay with me, because we are about to peel back the skin on this chemical addiction. We are moving past the feel-good illusions and into the clinical reality of why they do this. This isn't just a story about a bad relationship, it's a documentary of a psychological war fought on the battlefield of your own nervous system. You need to understand the mechanics of the trauma reset if you ever hope to reclaim your memory and your sovereignty. The narcissist wants you to believe this is passionate love, but I am here to tell you it is a deliberate act of soul murder disguised as a kiss. The exposure begins now. Don't look away, even if the truth burns. The haunting question of why you forget the abuse is about to be answered with such blunt force that the chains of your confusion will begin to crack. You are not crazy for feeling like you have two different partners. You are a human being who has been targeted by a creature that mimics humanity but loathes connection. We are going to deconstruct the reset, paragraph by paragraph, until you see the predator for what they really are. A hollow soul holding a mask of passion while standing in a void of calculated malice. To understand the trauma reset, we must first look into the neurochemistry of the predator. The narcissist provides what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. During the abuse, they drain your brain of serotonin and flood it with cortisol, the stress hormone. Then, during the reset, they provide a superstimulus of dopamine and oxytocin. This extreme swing creates a biological high that is more addictive than any narcotic. The narcissist is not feeling the passion, they are dispensing it. The reset is the hit that keeps the addict coming back to the dealer. You aren't in love, you are in a biological chokehold. Metaphorically, the narcissist is an emotional hacker who has found the back door to your sanity. During the reset, they are siphoning your light and replacing it with a placeholder version of themselves. The warmth you feel is the lethargy of the full predator. Have you noticed how they often seem energized and shining after the reset, while you feel hollowed out and exhausted? You have literally been drained to power their false self. The reset is their way of clearing the cache. They don't want to bond with you, they want to ensure that the memory of their latest transgression is overwritten by the intensity of the act. This is the amnesia matrix. To a narcissist, you are a hard drive with limited space. If they fill that space with intimacy, there is no room left for resentment or truth. Think of a computer being forced to restart during a critical error. The abuse was the error, the reset is the reboot. You wake up the next morning feeling fresh, but the underlying virus of the narcissist pathology is still there, eating away at your files. The function of the reset has been performed. The ego has been satiated. To remain warm after the reset would be a waste of resources for them. It is simply the machine turning back to sleep mode. Let's talk about projection through proximity. The narcissist carries a deep, subconscious loathing for their own monstrousness. During the reset, they use your purity and your empathy to wash themselves. They are using your body as a cleansing station. By treating you with intense affection after they've hurt you, they convince themselves that they aren't actually bad. They think, if I were really a monster, they wouldn't be here with me like this. They are using you to gaslight themselves. The reset is their way of sanitizing their own conscience at the expense of your reality. The trauma bond is reinforced in these reset moments like steel rebar in concrete. The sudden transition from pain to pleasure creates a biological anchor. Your brain, desperate to escape the cortisol of the abuse, latches onto the reset with terrifying strength. This is why you find yourself defending them to your friends. You are defending your dealer. The narcissist has conditioned you to believe that they are the only cure for the pain they caused. The reset is the bait. It keeps you hooked, keeps you hoping, and keeps you chasing the person they were in the first 5 minutes of the relationship. The narcissist lacks object constancy, which means they have no consistent version of you in their head. When they are abusing you, you are the enemy. When they are resetting you, you are the tool. Once the reset is over, the tool is put away. They aren't being cold in the way a human understands it, they are being done. They have no internal memory of bond to sustain the connection once the physical stimulation is gone. You are experiencing the great erasure of your own value. You are lying next to a person whose mind has already moved on to the next supply, leaving you to rot in the silence. Consider the power of the overwrite. The narcissist's greatest fear is being exposed. During the abuse, they felt exposed as a loser, a liar, or a failure. The reset is a remasking. By becoming the hero or the love again, they push the villain back into the shadows. It is a preemptive strike against your memory. They delete the abuse to maintain their grandiosity. They want to remind you, and themselves, that they are irresistible. The reset is the shield they put up to protect the rotting secret of their own insignificance. They are winning by making you lose your mind. The narcissist is a transactional amnesiac. Every touch, every kiss during the reset was a payment for a non-disclosure agreement. Once they have settled the debt of the abuse with intimacy, they see no reason to discuss the conflict. The reset is the closed sign on the conversation. They have bankrupted your ability to protest by flooding you with affection. Have you noticed that they often get angry if you try to talk about the fight after the reset? This is because, in their mind, they paid for your silence. It is a cinematic ritual of bribery designed to make your memory feel like ingratitude. Why does it feel so hollow the next day? Because it is. You are witnessing the absence of a soul. This post-reset dysphoria is your intuition screaming that you are in the presence of a predator who has just hacked your heart. The narcissist's true self is a void, and the reset is the static they use to hide it. Your soul knows it has been violated, even if your brain is still processing the dopamine. The silence in the room is the sound of the narcissist's mask locking back into place. They are starving you of real accountability to ensure you remain addicted to the fake version. We are approaching the turning point. You have seen the architecture of the heist. You have felt the bait of the machine. Now, we are going to look at what happens when the supply starts to remember. What happens when you stop accepting the reset? The narcissist has a final fail-safe for when their physical leverage fails, and it is the most malignant part of the cycle. We are moving into the dramatic shift, where the power dynamic shatters and the trauma reset becomes a fight for your very survival. The mask is about to fall completely, and the monster is about to roar. The dramatic turning point begins with a glitch in the compliance. It's the moment you stop accepting the reset. They come to you with the heat, the passion, the false warmth after a brutal day of gaslighting, and for the first time, you say no. You remain cold. You remain awake. Watch the narcissist's reaction. It is a cinematic shift from lover to lizard. The predator is confused. The reset button is broken. They rely on your forgetting to survive. When you remember during the act of intimacy, you are effectively killing their false self. The secret knowledge is this: their reset only works if you agree to be erased. When you stop forgetting, the narcissist experiences narcissistic mortification. To them, your memory is a weapon. They have restarted the machine, but the machine has logged the error. The narcissist will suddenly switch gears with terrifying speed. They might become inappropriately aggressive or bizarrely victim-like. They are trying to force the reboot. They would rather you hate them than see them. They are addicted to your submission. The plot twist is revealed. The passionate lover was always just a bouncer guarding the door to their empty interior. This is the psychological power shift. You realize that their passion was a bluff. It was a mask for their own terror of being held accountable. They turned on the heat because they didn't know how to stay human without deceiving. The moment you take away the deception by staying conscious, the narcissist begins to collapse internally. They start hoovering with a desperate, frantic energy. They might start crying or future-faking to see if a different drug still works. They are testing the line for a new entry point. But the line has been cut. You are now the observer, and they are the glitch. The shift is visceral. For the first time, you feel repulsion where there used to be desire. The reset no longer feels like healing, it feels like tampering. You look at them and see a biological machine, a pathological entity, rather than a partner. This is the moment the trauma bond begins to melt. The narcissist senses this energetic divorce and will resort to shaming your lack of forgiveness. They will call you unfeeling or vindictive. They will project their own coldness onto you to see if you will take the bait of guilt. But you are still. You are seeing through the cinema of their lies. Let's talk about the malignant pivot. When the narcissist realizes they can't reset you with warmth, they will try to break you with finality. They might make a brutal comment about how boring or unattractive you've become. This is the final strike of the ego death. They want to leave a scar before they exit the interaction. They want to ensure that if they can't control your love, they will control your pain. It is a malignant parting gift. They are defiling the memory of the relationship to ensure that you can never remember them without agony. They are poisoning the well as they flee. The cinematic tension is at its breaking point. You are sitting in the reset area, but the reset has failed. You have exorcised the amnesia. The narcissist knows the game is over. They might discard you right then and there with a coldness that feels like a physical blow. This is the relapse window. They are waiting for you to beg for the reset back. They are gambling on your chemical addiction to their touch. But their addiction has been broken by the truth. You are awake, and the awakened supply is the narcissist's ultimate nightmare. They can't stay in a room with a witness. The plot twist intensifies. The narcissist is actually powerless once you see the mechanics of the reset. Without your compliance, their passion looks like bad acting. Their eye contact looks like predatory staring. Their touch looks like infection. You realize that you were the one providing all the meaning in the interaction. You were the heart, and they were just the pacer. The narcissist is a hollow shell that borrowed your empathy to feel real. Now that you've withdrawn the loan, they are flat and lifeless. They are a villain without a plot. The narcissist's panic turns into obsession with your destruction. They might stalk your stability or triangulate you with a new supply to see if they can trigger the reset through jealousy. They are fishing for a reaction. They are addicts who have lost their primary lab. They never loved you. They loved the control of your memory. Now that the mirror is shattered, they have no self to hide behind. They are a static-filled screen on a dead channel. You have changed the frequency, and the narcissist is screaming into the white noise of their own void. The withdrawal is now theirs. They are withdrawing from power. They are withdrawing from reality. They are withdrawing into the false self to survive the exposure of their own hollowness. You are healing from systemic neurotampering. Every minute you spend in the truth is a nail in the coffin of the trauma bond. You are learning to breathe without their chemical permission. The predator is still standing on the corner of your life, but you have realized that they are paper thin. They are a hologram of power that you have walked through to get to the exit. We are moving into the collapse and consequences. The narcissist has lost the intimate stronghold, and the void is closing in on them. We are going to see the social and internal rot that follows the end of the amnesia. The tone is getting darker and harsher because the truth is a brutal surgeon. The narcissist is about to face the one thing they cannot gaslight, the absolute indifference of a soul they could not delete. The ego death of the predator is coming, and you are the witness who finally refuse to forget. The reset is over, and the consequence begins. The collapse of the narcissist is a slow-motion cinematic horror show. It begins with the erosion of the control mechanism. Without the trauma reset to regulate your memory, the narcissist begins to decompensate. The passion they once used as a weapon now becomes their prison. They are trapped in a performance that no longer hooks the audience. They become erratic, paranoid, and obsessive. They might engage in reckless behavior with low-quality supply just to feel a flicker of the old power. But the power is gone. They are chasing a ghost of their own making. They are sinking into the void. Internal panic for the narcissist feels like a biological end. They look in the mirror of your eyes and see nothingness. They are haunted by narcissistic mortification, a shame so profound it feels like physical disintegration. They try to project this shame onto you, spreading smear campaigns and vile lies to anyone who will listen. They want to destroy your reputation because your memory is a death sentence to their ego. They are a starving parasite that has killed its host and is now cannibalizing its own false identity. The tone is harsh because the reality is brutally ugly. Socially, the consequences are a slow burn isolation. The narcissist's mask is melting. Their charisma now feels oily and desperate. People begin to see the pattern. Their exes start talking to each other. The flying monkeys start to drift away as the narcissist's demands become too heavy. The narcissist is left in a desert of their own making. They never realized that integrity was the only currency that mattered in the long game. They spent their reputation to get a fleeting high, and now they are bankrupt. They are ghost hunting in an empty, echoing life. The trauma reset has a final act for the narcissist, malignant withdrawal. They might stalk you or monitor your life with clinical precision, but they do it from the shadows. They aren't doing this out of love, they are mining for negative supply. If they can't make you forget, they will make you miserable. Both are doses of relevance. They want to see that they still have the remote control to your central nervous system. Every reaction you give them is a hit of dopamine for their starving ego. This is why no contact is a life-saving medical intervention. You must shut down the server. Watch the physical decay of the predator. Stress is a physical poison. The narcissist often ages brutally once their reset mechanism is cut. They look hollowed out and tired. The energy they stole from you through the reset is running out. They are a device that can't hold a charge. They plug into new people, but the connection is weak, flickering, and static. They are obsolete technology in a world that is evolving toward authenticity. The trauma reset has snapped shut on the dealer. They are trapped in their own empty laboratory, surrounded by the broken glass of their lies. The internal rot is absolute. The narcissist starts to hate the new supply because they can't reset them as easily as they did you. They resent the work of having to start the performance over. They are bored with their own scripts. They are living ghosts haunting their own past conquests. They never realized that love was the only thing that grew over time. Their addiction to novelty has left them with a collection of broken toys. They are alone in a room full of strangers, still preening for an audience that has already left the theater. The light's out, but the ghost is still dancing. Consider the consequence of silence. While you are finding your voice, the narcissist is losing theirs. Their word salad no longer has the power to confuse. Their gaslighting no longer has the power to distort. They are shouting into a vacuum. They never realized that your belief in them was the only thing that made them real. Now that you have withdrawn your belief and kept your memory, they are fading into the static. They are white noise in the symphony of your recovery. You have edited them out of the final cut of your life. They have become a footnote in your greatness. The narcissist enters the malignant phase. They become overtly cruel because subtlety takes too much energy. They burn every bridge just to see the light of the fire. They sabotage their own careers, friendships, and families. They are scorched earth personalities. But the world just walks away. People don't hate the narcissist, they are indifferent to them. This is the ultimate torment for the ego-obsessed. To be ignored is to cease to exist. The narcissist's betrayal of you was the suicide of their own relevance. They are a broadcast with no listeners. The signal is lost. Use the metaphor of the sinking island. The narcissist is standing on a piece of land that is being reclaimed by the sea. They are screaming at the tide, but the water doesn't care. The betrayal of you was the earthquake that broke the island away from the mainland of humanity. Now they are just drifting and drowning. They look toward the shore and see you standing on solid ground, and they realize, for a flicker of brutal clarity, that they threw away the only boat that could have saved them. That regret is the only honest thing they will ever feel. The reset is permanently broken. The collapse is total. The narcissist is left with the ruins of a life that was built on memory theft. They have no reserve of goodwill. They have no history of kindness. They have only the echoes of their own betrayals. They never realized that loyalty was the currency of survival. Now, they are bankrupt in a world that doesn't accept counterfeit love. The final truth is about to be delivered, and it is the final nail in the coffin of their grandiosity. The predator is now obsolete. You are the survivor who became the sovereign. The amnesia is gone. We arrive at the final truth, the punch that shatters the spell forever. The narcissist never realized that by dosing you with the trauma reset, they were actually exposing their own spiritual death. The intimacy was only effective as long as you believed the lie that they had value to offer. But once you saw the predator, the chemicals lost their power. Their reset was the key. You didn't have the courage to turn yourself. They set you free by being too monstrous to forget. They discarded you, but they actually exorcised themselves from your soul. The memory is your shield. Emotional closure comes from the absolute recognition of their nothingness. You look back at the make-up sex phase not as a tragedy, but as a biological function of a broken entity. A snake bites because it's a snake, a narcissist resets because they are a void. It was never about you. It was about their incapacity for humanity. By accepting this brutal truth, you sever the emotional link. You are no longer waiting for an apology, because an apology from a void is just more static. You are the source of your own closure. You are the judge who has closed the case. The gavel has fallen. Empowerment is the act of reclaiming your biology. The narcissist tried to colonize your nervous system, but they only succeeded in tempering your steel. You are stronger, wiser, and more discerning because of the war you fought. The trauma reset was the fire that burned off the naivety. You are now UN manipulatable. You have a predator radar that is finely tuned. The narcissist's abuse was the inciting incident that forced you to find your inner strength. You are sovereign. You are the ruler of your own chemistry. You are the master of your own memory. The cinematic closing is a slow burn of sovereignty. You see the narcissist in the rearview mirror of your life, a small, frantic figure fading into the distance. They are still venting, still lying, still trying to reset. But they are irrelevant to your atmosphere. You are breathing clean air. You are walking on solid ground. You have integrated the shadow and reclaimed the light. You are whole, and the narcissist is just a fragment of a bad dream you finally woke up from. The fog has lifted, and your vision is sharp. You are looking at a future that belongs to you. Deliver the final truth punch to the narcissist's ghost. You didn't destroy me, you destroyed the only thing that was real in your life. You traded a kingdom for a handful of dirt, and now you have to live in the mud. This is the verdict of reality. While you are building a legacy of integrity, the narcissist is building a grave of regret. They will never know the peace of being truly loved or truly trustworthy. They are doomed to the poverty of the spirit forever. You have won the long game by simply remaining human. You have outlasted the monster. You are the victor. The game is over. Provide yourself with the final truth of your value. The narcissist's reset strategy was a confession of your magnificence. They couldn't handle your light, so they tried to snuff it out with chemical chaos. But they only succeeded in spreading the fire. You are a force of nature. You are a soul with substance. You are unerasable. The trauma reset was the evidence that you were too much for a small soul to contain. You are free to be great. The detox is complete, and your vitality is returning. You are glowing from within, fueled by your own truth. You are immune. The final line is a quotable truth that echoes in the halls of psychological victory. The narcissist thought they were taking everything from you, but they actually gave you everything back: your time, your energy, your worth, and your future. They saved you from the burden of saving them. They are stuck with the one person who will never change, and you are free to change the world. You are the winner of the unfair game. The casino is closed, and you have walked out with your soul intact. You have everything you need. You are enough. You are sovereign. Think of the survivors watching this right now. We are an army of the awakened. We have seen the betrayal, we have felt the reset, and we have resurrected the self. We are the living proof that truth is more powerful than lies. We are the light that exposes the predator. Your healing is the final blow to the narcissist's ego. Every happy day you live is a victory in the psychological war. We are clean, and we are powerful. We are the community of the sovereign. We are the ones who walked through the fire and came out as diamonds. We are the unbroken. As the credits roll on this chapter of your life, remember that the reset was the ending of a false story and the beginning of a true one. You are the author, the director, and the star. The narcissist was just a bad extra who missed their lines. The betrayal was the final scene of the illusion. Now, the real movie starts. And it is beautiful. You are no longer a victim, you are the alchemist. You have turned lead into gold. You have turned pain into power. You have turned the reset into the resurrection. You are the hero of your own existence. The story is yours. The final, blunt, clinical truth that the narcissist will never realize until it is too late. The intimacy they used to make you forget their abuse was never their strength, but the evidence of their own spiritual extinction. And now that you remember everything, they are nothing but a disappearing shadow in the light of your sovereign soul. You have walked out of the laboratory of pain. The predator is alone with the static of their own nothingness. You are sovereign. You are free. You are home. Your light is your own, and it is blinding. The reset is over. You are awake.